Hi there. In this quick tip, we're going to talk about BinocuFit and how these home recommendations work. So these home recommendations are meant to really support practitioners and patients. So practitioners make the recommendations and patients simply log in, start the activities, and move seamlessly through it. It's very easy to use. So the new recommended activities make it seamless between practitioner recommendation and the patient flow. So here we are on the home page. I'm going to show you first how a practitioner makes those recommendations. So we can see on the home page there's a lot of information, both for patients and practitioners to be aware of. All the activities are listed, philosophy and everything there. But then once we move over onto our dashboard is where we really get to the control of what we have in these features. So under the practice management section, a practitioner sees the passcodes they have available, as well as the patients that they have already assigned passcodes to. Just to go over some of these features, we'd also now have the ability for a patient to be granted a free trial initiated by the doctor. So that email comes directly from the doctor, and they can sign in for their 10-day trial before they are granted a passcode. Practitioners can also see if somebody has not redeemed that passcode in 14 days. Here's where you would, as a practitioner, edit your profile and change anything that you needed to change there so that you're included in that Find a Provider directory appropriately. Once you, as the practitioner, are ready to make the recommendations, you click on the activity section over here in your patient list. And here I'm going to delete the previous recommendations that I had made so we can start afresh. So this gives you the opportunity to see that you can make as many edits here as you need as the patient progresses through therapy, or in the course of a week or a month or however long it is between your monitoring. So now we're going to add the activities. So each checkbox that you check here is going to generate a separate activity. So you could check every mode if you wanted, or only the mode that you're selecting. And all of the settings there will be pre-populated into the activity once you put the recommendation there. So we'll start with that. And then we'll go on to the next one. We have added a grayscale option here. So this will have the letters presented in gray. So you wouldn't necessarily need the red, green glasses, but you can also set the contrast of those letters. So we'll add another one here. So again, each one of those activities will be in the recommendation if you had all those boxes checked. So just keep that in mind. Each one of them comes up separate. And another feature here is we can send a note to the patients that they will receive when they log in. So a little patient communication there. Now we're going to flip-flop over to the patient side in just a quick second so you can see how all these things transfer over onto the patient side. Send that note, and here we see a log of all those notes that would have gone back and forth between the providers and the patients. So now we're on the patient side, and we can see where that note popped up right there for them. And we are making a response back to the doctor. And then it records all that communication directly through the app, so we can have a record of that. So in just a sec now, we're going to see what it looks like on the patient side of things once those recommendations are put in the practitioner. We simply hit follow through with the recommendations, keep clicking on that nice teal box, and we go forth and do the activity. So BinocuPop here, as we can remember, is about locating where that star is. Not just do you see it closer, do you see it farther, but where is the star in relation to the circle? Making a judgment each time. And here we still are in range training. So this is going to put an emphasis on developing that convergence range as opposed to the fine stereo building, which would come in if you choose the other mode, which is the stereopsis training, which the contrast depth level between the circle and the star is going to get much finer and track that. So as we're doing this here, you can see the buttons on the bottom. It is useful to note that when somebody gets into the higher levels of the Virgin's demand, those buttons may appear to be doubled in the periphery. which is not a problem. They're big enough to be able to locate where they are. So here we're going to change the snow or add the snow because it wasn't there in the beginning, but then we have the ability to change on those sliders how that snow presents itself there to make it a little bit more obvious how things are related to each other here with regards to that depth. So keep working through the activity and notice again that those little indicators in the side vision, the thumbs up or thumbs down, are just another way of expanding out the periphery, making sure we're not locking into too much of our central vision as we're trying to balance everything out here and develop coordination of our two eyes in the context of how we might use them out in the real world, which is not only looking at a computer screen, but noticing everything going on around us as well. So again, we have our levels here and the tracking and all that information about what we got correct. So a patient does have the ability to exit the plan, but I did put it there back behind a slider, so it can't happen by accident. Now we're on to our next recommended activity, and you can add that stability grid over here in the top corner just to demonstrate that again. And we can add the snow if we want, okay? So this is about 50-ish% contrast. So this would be useful, if you had somebody where you didn't feel like you wanted to be training in the red-green mode, but you still wanted to kind of build in their sensitivity. You can take it all the way down there. And we'll continue over here. So what we've learned about this one, this is, I think it's moving in the middle speed, not the slow speed, but not the fastest. And you can see as I'm doing it here, I have a trackpad on my computer, so it's not as easy as if I was using a touch screen. But if I am not exact and hitting it right in the center, it doesn't register the click. And you see in the bottom there where it's telling you how many times you've clicked it. So when I use this with patients, I am asking them to tell me the name of the symbol that is inside the shape. So we get a little bit of that verbalization there and an identification, but we are tracking and trying to accurately tap on where it is. Now this one I've chosen only red, so this one's going to be seen by the eye under the green lens. So this is helpful in an amblyopic patient or somebody with a strabismus where we're trying to emphasize information to the eye under the green lens. And our next activity is recommended here is the BinocuFit reading. So you're going to see here where those settings weren't put in properly. Not everything was fully customized. And so hopefully we don't make that mistake when we do this for our patients, but you'll see how we can, right within the activity, make the adjustment. So here, I did not put in the settings properly because I would never expect anybody to sit down and read that. So I have to make an adjustment. So right over in the top right-hand corner again, we have the display settings. So all the settings associated with BinocuFit reading come up so I can write in real time change it. Now, it's not an ideal scenario for a patient to have to do this on their own. So we're going to make sure as practitioners that we have put that in there. I'm going to turn off that advanced reading pace, and then we'll go back and read it nicely. So we read through the story, and because this is one of the stories within the reading collection, when we are done reading, we will have our comprehension questions come up. But again, they're just a reminder as well that you can change the snow. So when you're done reading, we indicate at the bottom that we're done reading, and then our 5 comprehension questions come up. So each one of the stories within the reading collection has these comprehension questions that are then tracked. And this is if you choose to use the ones that I have preloaded, or you can put in your own, which wouldn't have the comprehension questions, but you can go from there. And we finished all the recommended activities, and we're done for the day.